What's going on, guys? Jacob here. It's been a very long time since I've made any kind of video when I figured I would get back in the mold by doing a knife review. I know a lot of people have probably reviewed this knife by now, but I wanted to take my own gander at it because it's quite possibly my favorite knife in my collection. So, this is the Benchmade Mini Onslaught. And as I said, it is one of my absolute favorite knives. I've had it for several years now, seen quite a bit of use, and well, I just friggin' love the thing. I would start with the specs, but I think probably everybody's given specs on it, but just a quick rundown. The handles are G10, a smooth contour G10 that is just beautiful. Like, it almost shimmers, kind of like a carbon fiber would. Just amazing. Probably my favorite handle out of all the knives that I have. The blade is this, Benchmade calls it a modified clip point out of 154 cm. And I know that this isn't like a really super steel anymore, but it's probably my favorite steel because it's easy to sharpen and it holds an edge for a pretty long time in my experience. And I just love the shape of the blade. Full flat grind, this really thin edge, it just slices like a demon. Lock is, of course, Benchmade's Axis lock. Really strong, never had it fail on me. And it's just a lot of fun to toy around with. I could sit here for hours on end just flicking it open and shutting it, which annoys the hell out of my family. So the pocket clip is pretty unique among Benchmades. I don't think there's any other Benchmade that has this particular clip. I personally like it because I'm in the minority that really can't stand deep carry clips. I like having something to grab onto. I know that some would say it might stick out like a sore thumb, but I really don't mind. Just having something to pull out with. So this knife is, of course, made in the US, which I know some people go crazy for, like, oh, if it's not made in the USA, throw it away. Ugh. I don't really care so much. I mean, it's nice when something is made in the US, but it doesn't really have to be, as long as it's quality. So, like, ergonomics wise, I already mentioned that I love the contour of the G10 handle. It just feels really nice in the hand. There's no jimping on the spine. Don't give a shit. Don't need it. Stays my hand just perfectly fine without it. You can choke up right here like so if you want to, which maybe that's a bit dangerous. I've done it before, but options, right? Blade opens with the round hole like any Spyderco, and now like a lot of Benchmades do. Very easy to open, comes out really fast. This knife is just incredibly smooth. Probably the smoothest knife that I own, in all honesty. Don't want it to. I'm trying to show how it just falls freely, pretty much, when I disengage the lock. I don't want to hit my table. Back spacer, I believe, is just like Grivery or something. I mean, it might be aluminum, but I can't tell for certain. I may have to look that one up. I should have researched it a bit more before doing this video. Ah, well. The hardware is coated black, which I really like, personally. I was gonna say that it has like a bit of contrast to it, but I don't know. I don't know how to put it. blade is pretty much perfectly centered. It's just a little bit off to the left. I could fix that by adjusting the pivot. Don't really see the need to, though, because I pretty much have it where I want it. Speaking of adjustments, there's just a very slight amount of play side to side and a very slight amount up and down. I think that might be typical of all axis locks. I have learned to really not let it bother me all that much. Though, one thing that originally stood out as an anomaly to me was how they have this little divot in the handle. I think that perhaps it might help you pull it out of the handle, or I mean out of your pocket. But I've heard that it's supposed to help you switching to reverse grip and back to regular grip or something like that. The blade itself is supposed to have a really light tumble finish, although it is really kind of hard to tell on camera. This is not the best camera. Comes to a pretty thin, stabby tip. I have poked myself a few times with it. Not fun. Blade itself is incredibly sharp, but this is an edge I put on it because I've used it over the years. Obviously had to sharpen it a few times. So not a representation of factory, but out of the box it did come extremely sharp. Which I would like to say is typical of Benchmade, but this is the only Benchmade I own. But I do definitely hope to gain more in the future. And finally, I should mention, this is a design by the late Bob Lum, who I understand was a custom maker of great importance. I do not honestly know all that much about him. I just know that he's one of the ones responsible for popularizing the Tonto blade style in the US. But that's really about all I know. But in summary, I mean, I absolutely love this knife. It's quite possibly my favorite. Just think it's overall just beautiful overall. The flowing lines of it, the look of it, the way it feels in my hand, the way it performs. I mean, I absolutely love it. I think that price-wise, it's been a while since I've checked, but I think you'd probably find it for $140 or so. I paid only $110 because it was on sale at a local store that was closing, and so I got incredibly lucky. And I have never regretted making that purchase. I'm not once. I'm letting this video drag on a bit too long, and I'm rambling, but yeah, I'm off a hiatus, I guess you can say. I hope to review more knives, maybe do some like let's plays of video games and stuff like that if I get the proper recording equipment. So yeah, I'm out.